Now, today marks the first anniversary of the formal coronation of King Misuzulu kaZwelithini. He was officially appointed as King of the AmaZulu nation on the 7th of May of 2021, but his traditional coronation only took place on the 20th of August of 2022. The King was crowned and recognized by the government on the 29th of October of 2022. Now, we talk to Professor Sihawu Ngubane, Professor in African Languages at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, about the King's first year. Thank you so much for your time, Prof. So now it's been a year since the King was crowned. What have been some of these achievements?
Thank you very much for inviting. We want to congratulate His Majesty for making this one-year anniversary on the throne of the Zulu nation. We know that we cannot assess the performance of the King because the King's presence in the throne is an achievement. Just that we've been saying since the demise of His Majesty that there should be no vacuum. So from this period of May, as we have alluded to, till now, the King has been in the office, and that is an achievement of its own, bearing in mind that his ascension to the throne had a knock-on effect because of the disputes that are taking place, but he has achieved in stabilizing the Zulu nation. He has performed the ceremonies that are necessary for the Zulu nation successfully, and the appointment of new chiefs has happened. A lot has happened within the period of a year, which shows that the Zulu nation does not feel the transition effect since the demise of the late King.
And Prof, as you also make mention of those divisions as well, it would also be important to see how the King himself navigates some of the challenges that he faces. Let's speak to how is he meant to manage some of those divisions that we see that seemingly make his tenure or reign difficult.
It's a mammoth task for him to try and unite the Zulu nation, more so his family, because I think that's where the problem starts, that he needs to ensure that there is reconciliation within the family before it can manifest to the entire nation, because the nation looks up to the royal family who are in the lead of the nation. I think the first thing that he has done was to perform his duties as His Majesty, with a dent that he still have to be fixed and corrected. I think that's what he will need to strive to achieve, that unity within the family, so that there is peace and stability within the Zulu nation. I think that's the core business that he needs to prioritize as the King.
Yeah, and of course, just speaking about some of the disputes that we've seen, many of them have also played out in the public domain. Is there still time to actually salvage some of those relationships, to try and move towards a point of reconciliation, as well as, stabilizing all those ties in the Zulu monarch right now?
Yes, I think he has time to do so. He must devote all his time in doing that, to heal the wounds of people who are affected by his position as the King. Because I think the issue is acceptance, that he needs to be accepted as the Zulu King, because he's sitting on the throne as we speak. So people of KwaZulu should give him a chance to be their king. In other words, I think what I'm trying to say is that there is time, there is enough time for people to accept. Or each time there is transition, people are still mourning the demise of the previous king, or the late King Zwelithini. So there is a resistance to change. So people need to give him enough chance to restart and rebrand himself as the new king, because the Zulu nation has had a king for 49 years without a change. So this change that has been brought about by the demise of the late king needs to be given a chance for people to heal their differences, more especially in the royal house. I think they need to respect the person who is on the throne, not the person but the throne itself, because the throne represents the whole nation of AmaZulu. So I think there is time to work on that.
And Prof, of course, the passing of the traditional prime minister has also thrown a spanner in the works. What impact has the passing of the traditional prime minister of the AmaZulu nation, Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, had on the throne?
You know that he was very instrumental to the coronation, as we are celebrating the first anniversary of his coronation. The Prime Minister, the late Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, played a pivotal role in putting and installing him as the king. So without the presence of the Prime Minister as the position, we know that he himself, the king, has said that they are still mourning the passing of Prince Buthelezi. I think that has got an impact, because he has got no advisor, he has got no support from the traditional prime minister, which will force His Majesty to fast track the appointment of the traditional prime minister, because there are some issues or affairs of the royal family that has to be addressed by the prime minister. So that is also one of the priorities that can also ease some of the stressful responsibility faced by His Majesty if he doesn't have a traditional prime minister. I think that is also an impactful effect on his throne right now.
And Prof, I want us to turn sharp focus on the appointment of a new prime minister. Where is he likely to sway? Who is he likely to pick?
At the moment, we cannot speculate who is likely to replace the late Prince Buthelezi, because it is his prerogative as the king to nominate a person that he feels is going to be able to fulfill the position, and he was able to support him in the leadership of the nation. So it is upon him, and we cannot suggest to him who should be on the throne. But I think there are some people from other corners of the Zulu nation who have got names that are in line, that they think they should be considered by His Majesty. But we want to respect the fact that the king has got to play to his prerogative to choose the right person that deserves this position, because it will be difficult for anyone to fit into the positions and the shoes of the late Prime Minister of the Zulu nation. So I think this space that he has given himself will give him enough time to rethink of who should be the person replacing Prince Buthelezi.
All right, Professor Sihawu Ngubane, thank you very much for your time this hour. And that is Professor Sihawu Ngubane, who is Professor in African Languages at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, joining us for that conversation.